Okay, now I shifted my practice again. I start recording at 10 and then I go live. Before this, I was doing the process of going live and then starting the recording. But it seemed that Zoom extended the recording back to the start, so I figured I would just go ahead and do it like that. So it looks like we're going to be able to do this live on Facebook. I know some people can do it live on Facebook and YouTube. I haven't really looked into that yet, though I would like to do it. It is an option on Zoom. I went on to Facebook earlier so that hopefully this would go smoothly. It is going, but it's taking some time. So slowly. Okay, there. Okay. Now, going live. Okay. All right. Now, we may as well start the introduction video. Let's see. Oh, I almost forgot. I have to screen share first. Okay, let me get the video, what I'm going to show you. Let me get that going. And okay, then I'll screen share. I think this will make it easier and smoother. That's why I did it. Screen share. Optimize, share. Okay, I'm sharing. Now, let's begin. So you're probably seeing a dark screen as I am. Okay, welcome to Karen Ryce's Raising Happy Kids Zoom show, episode 81, The One Rule Solutions. During this 1-hour Zoom show, I focus on sharing tips and lessons on the one rule to raising happy kids. Each episode has at least one example of the one rule in action, demonstrating how it helps you raise a happy child. Then when we have guests, we have Q&A and discussion. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony with kids, I bring up the one rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. You find a solution that everyone likes. You've found agreement. You've found harmony. Knowing and following the one rule is all you really need to create harmony between you and your kids. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, use the one rule. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. The one rule starts strong. You have decided that you really want harmony with your child. That sounds so good, right? Everyone feeling good and getting along. You have decided that you do not want to make your child do what they do not want to do, and you do not want to do what you do not want to do, and you are going to make this work. You have decided that you want to use the one rule to make this happen. This is going to become your new habit. You remember that when you use the one rule, you are sharing the following messages with your kids. More than this too, but I want us all to be happy. We are each important. Together we can solve our problems. I believe in you. I love you. To create this new habit, you are going to start with yourself and what you want. You decide that you are going to let how you feel about a situation determine whether you agree with it or not. If it feels good, then you can agree with it. If not, you cannot. Think about a situation. Ask yourself, is this situation okay with me just as it is? If yes, good. If no, what would have to change, be different so that I could feel good about it? Maybe several versions of this situation would feel fine with you, maybe only one. This exercise, this practice, helps you make a habit of following the one rule. No matter what age your kids are, this exercise helps ensure a strong start and makes following the one rule so much easier. Here is an understanding that might make following the one rule even easier. Recently, I asked myself a question. What do I want people to feel when they are connecting with my work? I definitely want them to feel good about themselves. Then the following answer appeared, to my surprise and delight. I want people to realize that they are already using the one rule. That understanding surprised me. As more and more of it was revealed to me, it delighted me. Of course, people are already using the one rule. I am not teaching them anything they don't know. I am not teaching them anything strange to them. I am just helping them expand their use of something they use daily without thinking about it. They use it. You use it. Every time you come to a decision inside of yourself, you are using the one rule. Most likely you had to consider several options or possibilities to reach that decision, even if it just took you a few seconds for you to agree with yourself. That is what I want. You also use the one rule whenever you agree with someone else. Together you come to a decision, an agreement. Yes, tomorrow I'll go to the auto parts store after I get my nails done. Even with your kids, you're using the one rule. You're coming to agreements. Think about it. Of course you are. You are just not thinking of it as a rule, as something required. So at times you are not coming to agreement. I'm here to help you think of coming to agreement as required, as a rule, as the one rule. You just expand the situations where you come to agreement until coming to agreement is just what you do and your kids do. It is the rule you and your kids follow. When you use the one rule, you are creating harmony. Your kids are creating harmony. You're becoming used to creating harmony, familiar with how good it feels to everyone involved. One point to be clear on is that even if a situation seems complicated, and it seems that it is impossible to find a solution that everyone involved can feel good about, it is still possible. An important thing to remember is that there is a way for things to work so that everyone involved gets to feel good. Keep that in mind. This has been my experience whenever I have made this effort. A clear, helpful way to introduce using the one rule to your kids actually originates from the first time the children introduced me to what is now the one rule. You can do what I did. So they could understand what we were doing, I told the two little girls 3 things. 1, you are each important. Point to each person involved. You are important and you are important. And if it is your problem too, I am important. 2, you or we each deserve to feel good. 3, we are going to use the one rule to help this happen. Then tell them what the one rule is. When you actually start working with your kids using the one rule, helping them follow their interests is one of the easiest ways for you to start. That makes sense, right? It is also one of the most beneficial things you can do for your kids. Why is it good for your kids to do what interests them? One primary reason is that their interest is a key to helping them become the best versions of themselves that they can become. When we do what interests us, we are very engaged and focused. Think about doing something that interests you. When we are engaged and focused, what we do and produce tends to be of much better quality than if we were not interested. Interest helps result in excellence. An even more important result of being engaged and focused is that our whole being is involved in what interests us. That is why we are engaged and focused. We are experiencing harmony, inner harmony. That is a good reason to allow and encourage our kids to do what they are interested in doing. I have observed children doing what really interests them, and they become peaceful, harmonious people, even if they were not before. Now, it does not mean that everything that interests our kids is going to always interest them. They may be interested for 10 minutes or 10 days or 10 years or even for their lifetime. The point is that they are following their interests, not the specific thing or experience that interests them or the length of time it interests them. So if they ask for your help, please help your kids follow their interests. If for any reason you really do not want to do what they're asking you to do, that is a perfect time to use the one rule. Another reason for helping your kids follow their interests is one that is taking care of you too. When they are eager to do something, instead of resisting doing it, you do not have to encourage them to do it or insist that they do it, let alone force them to do it. Think of how much of your time and energy could be available for you to use as you wish. Helping them follow their interests is actually the one rule in action, taking care of you and your kids. I'm glad you're here. Okay. I'm going to see if I can do this without stopping this screen share. Let's see. I wanted to share this with you today if I didn't have a guest. And so far there is no guest. So there was a peace day recently, and I put this together, but I did have a guest on that day. So I didn't show it, but I can do it today. Cool. The one rule keeps peace in the family for you. When I started working on today's slideshow, I thought I understood certain things, but as I worked, more was revealed. Recently, there have been questions and concerns that using the one rule might not work. I understand where these concerns come from. After all, it is such a different approach than parents are in charge. Not only that, it is so simple. How can something that simple work? It just couldn't be that simple. And since it is so simple, it must not really work. It's got to fail. It doesn't make sense. Although I really want everyone to adopt the one rule when relating to kids from birth onward, by just adding it to whatever way they parent now, I do understand the concerns, and I'm going to do my best to address them today. When I was first introduced by 3-year-old children to what I now call the one rule, I told them to help them understand what I wanted to help them do, that they were each important. Then I pointed to each one of them Then I pointed to each of them and said, "You are important, and you are important." They could agree with that. One little girl's awareness expanded to realize that they were both important. I saw it as her eyes lit up. I now realize that her eyes may have lit up because she thought of a solution. However, before thinking of the solution, she had to accept that the solution had to be something that they both liked. Until now, I believed that her eyes lit up because she expanded her thinking to accept that both of them were important. Of course, that may be true. However, it is only now that I've come to realize that whether that is true or not, by following what is now known as the One Rule, she found a peaceful, harmonious solution, a solution that was enjoyable for both of them. That is true for anyone who uses the One Rule. There may be more than one peaceful solution, but it has been my experience working with kids that there is always at least one agreeable solution. No one has to believe that they are important or that the other person is important, but when a solution is discovered that all involved truly like, so they can agree to it, they are acting in peace. They are peace in action. This is built into the One Rule. Even if people's awareness does not expand to include the importance of the other person, as long as they are following the One Rule, they find a solution that they both like, or they all like, and they agree to use that solution. The result is peace. They also get to feel good about themselves and their life. They are happy with the solution. It may not be the solution they originally thought of, but they like it anyway. That is why they agreed to it. Think about how you feel when things are going a way you want them to go. You feel good, right? Another thing I mentioned to those first two little girls was that they both deserve to have what they want, and we were going to figure out how to do this. This is the main thing that people have trouble with. This is why people have trouble believing that the One Rule works. They want something and someone else wants the same thing, like the two little girls both wanted to swing on the same swing, the only swing available. Whatever the situation, it seems that there is no way that both people could have what they want. They think that they have to give up on what they want, or the other person does. That is the most common outcome. That is what people are used to. It's hard to realize that there is a peaceful solution. It's hard to accept a possibility that seems so uncommon. I just realized that when I promised, I vowed to never force my children to do what they did not want to do. I put myself in the perfect position to be open to peaceful answers. Peaceful solutions require that everyone involved agrees. This does not mean that they just say they agree, but that they fully, truly agree, because that solution is something that they like. So I have been using the one rule for at least 38 years. For most of those years, it was called the power of respect, and there were 108 respect tools, skills, and strategies I used to make it work. That's why I know I've found a true solution, mighty enough to stand on its own. One rule. In case some of you don't know, the one rule came into being one night when I wondered if people would actually have to learn the 108 tools, skills, and strategies I'd used to create respectful relationships with kids in my life. That night I asked myself, of the 108, what is the least that people need to know to be able to raise happy kids? The one rule was my answer, and that one rule is powerful enough to create peace between parents and kids, and powerful enough to be your fail-safe in your intention to raise happy kids. The one rule is peace in action. Here are a couple of examples of how the one rule can ensure happy kids and peace between adults and kids. My youngest daughter and my 6-year-old grandson were visiting. The one rule had just taken on its name. As I was explaining the process to them, my daughter used the word agreement to explain the process in one word. I liked it. I use it. It seems appropriate that the one rule has a one-word description. My grandson liked to watch TV and YouTube video cartoons. My daughter didn't not really want him to do that, especially as much as he wanted to. One time when he asked me to set up my laptop for him, I told him that I felt uncomfortable doing this because his mom did not feel good about it. I wanted to work this out with her too. He thought about this briefly and suggested that he and I play cards. So we did. We had fun. So here all people involved were honored. Peace was maintained. Everyone felt cared about. Another example is from someone I coached on the one rule. One issue she had was feeling uncomfortable always buying her 5-year-old daughter things every time they went to the store, especially when her daughter was not behaving in ways she liked. She came up with an idea that they all liked. She made a chart of behavior that she liked. Her daughter could earn money for those behaviors and buy her own things. Her daughter liked earning money and the parents liked the behavior. Here again, all people involved were honored. Peace was maintained and everyone felt cared about. So I hope you'll join me in the movement to help kids grow up happy and in peace. Use the one rule. Become an affiliate or a partner. Earn 50% commission. Share this with many, many more. The affiliate and partner program are part of the Happy Kids business launch. Starting soon. Join us. Let's say, how about starting now? You can go, I will include the link. I don't know if I have it here. I'm glad you're here. I do not have it here, but I will post this wherever I post this show. And from now on, I will post the link to the new website. Okay, I'm going to stop the screen share. Okay, let's see now. Okay, oh dear, that's not what we need. Okay. Now, I'm going to continue on with what I was doing a few shows ago. I've been going through the Power of Respect column book and looking at the questions. These were questions from people who lived in the area, and they allowed me to put their questions and my answers in the local newspaper. And what they wanted to know was how to deal with whatever situation they were bringing up, how to deal with it respectfully, because that was my theme in those days. And of course, it's still important, but now the focus is on the one rule, which is how you get to all of that good stuff easily. Actually, before I start on the next question, something came up that was, let's see. It allowed me to see, because for me, relating with kids using the one rule, let's say, is even though I haven't used the one rule, I've used what the one rule got created out of. I think the one rule makes it even easier than having to use the 108 tools, skills, and strategies. I guess the one rule is kind of like a strategy, but with kids, it's super easy for me, and to help between kids is super easy for me. But not always with adults. That has not been my strong suit, but I think I'm figuring that one out too. Anyway, let's go on with this. All right, I'm going to do a new screen share, and so that you can read along with the column if you like. Okay. All right. The next question is, how do you keep respectful when your children are being willfully disobedient? If you let yourself get ruled by your emotions in these situations, it can be very, very difficult to stay respectful. It's hard enough to stay respectful when your kids disobey you. It is much, much harder when they are also not being respectful. This is when all your practice at remaining calm, which you have learned as a part of a spiritual discipline or as part of stress control or in preparation for childbirth, can come in handy. Acknowledge your emotions, feel them, and if you want to, share them. Tell your children what you're feeling. Just do not let your emotions be in charge of what you do. Make sure you, the whole person that you are, is in charge of you. If you ever cannot control your impulse to react disrespectfully, it might be better to leave the scene until you have calmed down. Let "I treat my children with respect" be your bottom line. Although obedience is an integral part of our culture, if you wish to stay respectful, it is better to think in terms of cooperation rather than obedience or disobedience. Assume that if you give them enough information, your son or daughter will want to cooperate. And if they do not, they have good reasons for not doing so. Find out why they are being uncooperative. Now, this point, I'm going to tell you, in terms of the one rule, I learned yesterday. Sharing enough information is a very important part of coming to a mutually agreeable solution. And if you don't share enough information, you might not find the solution, the peaceful, harmonious solution you're looking for. So be sure that you do. If you keep in your mind, this is not from here, this has just stimulated me in terms of what I wanted to share with you. If you keep in your mind that there is a harmonious solution, it could be that not sharing enough information about what you need and want and what's going on could be the reason you're not discovering it. But if you keep in mind that it's there, that is going to help you a lot. Okay. Find out why they are being uncooperative. Are their needs different than yours? Sometimes doing what you want them to do in just the way you want them to do it is going against their own needs. If this is the case, it's a good opportunity to use the one rule. Maybe they have misunderstood your needs. Misunderstandings are some of the most common causes of trouble among people. Make sure that your children have understood exactly what you had in mind. Perhaps you have misinterpreted your children's actions and think that they are being uncooperative because they did not do exactly what you expected them to do. Sometimes What they do really meets your needs. It was just not the way you thought about having those needs met. Often, children will not do what you ask the instant after you ask it. Like many others, they need time to adjust to what you're asking of them and to end what they're already doing, even if it is making noise. It might also be they are just tired of being bossed around. Maybe they feel as if everyone has been telling them what to do all day and they are fed up. That could happen to any of us. Sometimes enough is enough, and with you, it's often safer to disobey than with others. Another thing you might look at is yourself as a behavior model. How cooperative are you with your children when your needs are different from theirs? Are you ever, or even frequently, uncooperative with your children? When they let you know what they need, and if it is not what you had planned, do you work cooperatively with them to find a mutually agreeable solution? That means, do you use the one rule? Remember, you are one of their primary models of appropriate human behavior. Once you understand more accurately what's going on with your children and what seems to be disobedience on their part, it is much easier to be respectful with them. When you take the time to figure things out and not just react, you can often discover that situations which seemed intolerable to you before are understandable and with a little effort can be transformed into peaceful, satisfying interactions. And that's what happens when you use the one rule. Next question. When my children have disagreements, they sometimes end up calling each other names. I don't like that, but I don't want to get involved in their fights. I really want them to work things out between themselves. What can I do so that we all win? First, I would ask, what do they want? I would need that information before I could answer this question. The point of win-win agreements is not that this is good or this is bad, but that all the people involved feel good about the agreement. Perhaps they don't mind being called names by each other. If you don't mind as long as they don't mind, then that would take care of that. If you still mind, then this is an issue for discussion and negotiation. Perhaps they want your help to work out their conflicts. Maybe this is one of the times they really do want your attention and help. If that's okay with you, then no problem. If you really do not want to be in the middle of their conflicts, then here too is another opportunity for you all to find an agreeable solution or use the one rule. Perhaps the solutions they come up with do not feel satisfying to all of them. If this is the case, then you can offer to help them learn ways to work out their problems so they would all feel good about it. If they like this idea, then maybe for a while you could participate in their conflicts as a facilitator, helping when they ask for help or offering to help when they seem to be getting stuck. When you decide to find out exactly what they do want, first, find a time that is agreeable for all of you. Then, make sure that you clearly understand their needs. Tell them what you have understood and ask if that is correct. If you decide that some negotiation is in order, explain your needs and point of view and be sure that they understand what you mean. Sometimes this clear communication is enough and the problems seem to solve themselves. However, sometimes the brainstorming for solutions and negotiating takes more time and energy than you want to give it. But it seems more agreeable and efficient to put in the time and energy up front, finding win-win solutions, than to put it in later, listening to the name calling that you don't like or being dragged into arguments when you'd rather be working in the garden. Not only that, with more practice, this process becomes almost automatic. You automatically take each other into account since you are used to finding win-win solutions. As soon as you realize the need for this, people start offering solutions, and usually, quickly, a suitable one is found. Right there is the one rule in action. This is many years ago, not before the children introduced it to me, but before it took the form it has now. Okay. What do you do? This is the next question. What do you do when your child doesn't want to go to school and you realize that it's in his best interest not to go? Here you have agreement. Your son doesn't want to go to school, and you think that's in his best interests. Since there are no problems here, you might want to start exploring your options. It might be that one of the other schools in the area would better serve his needs than the one he's been attending. It may be that the circumstances in his school that cause him trouble could be addressed and modified so that it suits him. If it is possible, you might consider the possibility of homeschooling. Today, many students are finding a rich, high-quality, personalized education this way. If you go this route and your son is a very social person, you will both have to make special efforts to make sure he gets enough socializing to satisfy his needs. In any case, it sounds like exploring your options is the next step. Sometimes in the newspaper, I had a certain amount of space. Sometimes I had short questions, and I had short answers. And so I would take a couple of questions. I think that's what I did here. I recently read your book. This book is Parenting for the New Millennium, my first book. I regret not knowing about respecting children when I was raising my children. They are all grown now. I wish I could do it over again. You can, in a way, by creating respectful relationships with your children now. Sure, you may not be able to affect their fundamental development. That was finished with the end of childhood. Now I'm wondering, this is just an aside here. I'm wondering if that's true. I know I learned that in my Montessori training about fundamental development. And it may be true, but it may not. There may be ways that we can affect what happened during our fundamental development. Now it's something they would have to change. Of course, they're the ones that created it in the first place. So for sure, they're the ones that would have to change it, but you could help. Okay. However, if you change the way you think about them, speak to them, and relate to them, you can transform your present relationship, heal past wounds, and create a satisfying, fulfilling relationship with those grown-up children. It can be a wonderful experience for you both and fulfill your desire to have raised your children respectfully. It may take as much work and transformation on your part as if you had started when they were small. First, you need to become aware of how you treat your children and what you need to change in order to be respectful toward them at all times. They need this as much as you do for their own self-esteem. Just as you can change, so can they. It can help your process and that of your adult children if you talk about it with them. Depending on your relationship, they may or may not believe you. In any case, it brings your commitment even more to the forefront of your awareness. This can speed up the process for you. Oh my goodness, it is not a short one. And start the process for them, even if they don't believe you at first. If you persist, they will be convinced. In general, all children, even adult children who have become estranged from their parents, love their parents and would prefer a mutually respectful relationship with them. It can help to remember that much of the behavior of parent and child is affected by old stimuli. Many interactions are just playing out previously established behavior patterns. Your beliefs, which were formed in your past, still guide today's actions. It can take time and persistent effort to reform your belief system to the point where the new beliefs form your experiences. As you change, new elements are introduced into the patterns. As you change, the changes are reflected in your experiences. As you become more respectful, that respect is reflected back to you from others. To understand the kind of dedication and determination needed for this change, it can be helpful to think of a baby learning to walk. No matter how many times she falls, she does not become discouraged and give up. She may take a break, but she returns to her practice until she has mastered the ability to walk. Besides sticking with it, it can also be helpful to practice patience. Patience with yourself and patience with others. Remember the power of forgiveness and do what you need to do to keep your self-esteem strong. Notice the changes. You and your adult children have better self-esteem. Freedom from the strain of always being right. freedom from the guilt of hurting your children, satisfaction in discovering win-win solutions to problems, more energy for adventures, inner ones and outer ones. It is a wonderful, enriching experience to share a friendship with your adult children, full of mutual respect, admiration, love, and trust. It is never too late to become friends with your children. I have recently become a single parent. My daughter is almost 4 years old. Oh, you know what, folks? I think this is going to take too long to finish today. So we're going to have to have it for next week. So what I will do, there are a couple of things I can do here. Okay, I'm gonna stop this screen share because when I shift screens, or when I shift whatever I'm showing you. Okay. Let's see. I wanted to show you. Let's see. I wanted, there. Okay. I want to show you what you can do if you would like to become an affiliate. And, oh, I'm on the right page. What am I doing? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to share this with you. Screen share. Okay, share. All right. I was on the right page and I went ahead and I didn't realize it. I wasn't paying good enough attention. So I don't know if it's going to show up, but I wanted to show you how you could sign up as an affiliate and just give you a quick look at what's available and what you might earn 50% of. Okay. Okay. Here's the basic membership. And here's, if you do it for a year, there's solutions. Since I work one-on-one with you in those, they cost more. Here's the One Rule program. Here it is. There is a form here on this page. This is the $1 offer page. It costs nothing to become an affiliate. Fill out the form and sign you up. I am starting an affiliate program. So once I figure that one all out, I will shift over to that, or maybe I'll do both. Anyway, let's see if I can quickly get you. All right. This is the home page, and up here are various things you can explore. And here's is where you would click the $1 plus offer is where you would click to join the affiliate program. And down here is where you sign up if you want to get the latest book and training and get on the mailing list. Okay, now I'm late, time to go. Oh, stop share. Okay, I wish you a great week and hope you are using the one rule.